Hello and welcome to the Sunday Club on what has been a really newsy week. And we're here with the full panel. And we still expect some more people. AIM is supposed to join us. He's late as always, as is Pallavi Ghosh. But we know Pallavi is busy because, like I've said this earlier, she actually has a job. So she's busy with that. And today is the big rally in New Delhi at the Ramlila Maidan. And the Halla Bol rally that the Congress is having or holding to kick off their Bharat Jodo Yatra, which starts on September 7th and is going to go from Kanyakumari to Kashmir. It's going to overlap the months of September, October, when they're also doing their presidential elections and the back and forth as far as that is concerned. So the Congress getting activated. Rahul Gandhi made a speech. Part of that speech, of course, went viral. I'll be happy to share that with you. I'm trying to figure out this screen share system. I've got a video from Republic, which is up on YouTube. So I'm going to try and put that screen up there, and hopefully we'll be able to watch it.
2014 में एलपीजी का सिलेंडर 410 रुपए का था, आज 1050 रुपए का है। पेट्रोल 70 रुपए लीटर, आज तकरीबन 100 रुपए लीटर। डीजल 55 रुपए लीटर, आज 90 रुपए लीटर। सरसों का तेल 90 रुपए लीटर, आज 200 रुपए लीटर। दूध 35 रुपए लीटर, आज 60 रुपए लीटर। आटा 22 रुपए लीटर, आज 40 रुपए लीटर। 2014 में एलपीजी का सिलेंडर 410 रुपए का था, आज 1050 रुपए का है। पेट्रोल 70 रुपए लीटर, आज तकरीबन 100 रुपए लीटर। डीजल 55 रुपए लीटर, आज 90 रुपए लीटर। सरसों का तेल 90 रुपए लीटर, आज 200 रुपए लीटर। दूध 35 रुपए लीटर, आज 60 रुपए लीटर। आटा 22 रुपए लीटर, आज 40 रुपए लीटर। 2014 में
So that's really what
एलपीजी
we
का
were
सिलेंडर
looking at, and part of his.
Imagine there are 4 months.
Yeah, and it's like it's like a meme fest because of this part of the
4
speech.
months of meme fest.
Yeah. So, I mean, he's just handing them out. Sambit Patra for the BJP did a press con and said, please tell me, mujhe bataiye, aata liquid hai ya solid, in classic Sambit Patra style. And subsequently, of course, about the other things that Rahul Gandhi also mentioned was the usual, only 2 businessmen are benefiting from this government. No prizes for guessing which those 2 industrialists are. So he kind of repeats that ad verbatim and ad nauseum, and all the time. And then mentioned, of course, divisiveness, etc. So some of the similar tropes that he uses in his speech. So I'm going to dive right into it, and let's see who someone's popped in. Okay, here finally, Lady Blah Blah has come. Lady Blah Blah took us. So Lady Blah Blah took us.
Why can't Lady Baba, invest in a headscarf, as they call it politely, or a Macbeth, Lady Macbeth kind of gown to cover her face?
See, I have something better. It's actually my laurel wreath that I got in Athens.
Oh.
So wait,
But anyway, put something under it. Your situation is not as bad as us, when we have to struggle for every liter of our atta for our meal. We can afford to get something.
But I'm liking the Roman theme on the day of the Halla Bol Yatra.
Athens is not in Rome, by the way.
I know it's Greece, but
Before we start,
yeah, okay,
night.
someone's mic is like creating a lot of issues, probably Suhel's, but
Mine is perfect.
it must be yours.
AIM, let's just start with you. We just, you
Just
missed
a
us.
moment. I request you to let us pay homage to Cyrus. Very bad way,
Oh,
very sad
oh,
way to
please,
lose a wonderful.
go ahead, Ratan Shadaji. Full screen to you,
Suhel,
please.
Suhel is the ideal person to pay homage to Cyrus. Suhel, please.
No, please, no, please go ahead, Ratan Shadaji, and please go ahead.
Well, I wouldn't know much about Cyrus except that he was a leading businessman and industrialist. Unfortunately, his fight with Tatas created a poor image of the industry as well as Tatas and Cyrus. But as a professional, as an industrialist, he was a wonderful person. And to lose a life on such a sad way of having a road accident really hits hard. Young man, not the time to go, not the way to go. So I pay my homage to him as one of the leading industrialites, not just from Mumbai, but India, and would have been the world leader also one day.
No, and forgetting about the Tata episode, the contribution of the Shapoorji Palanji group to the Indian development story has been huge in terms of the infrastructure and what they have done over the years. And he was, I think, the rightful successor to take it through the next phase. We have seen a lot of infrastructure companies come and go uh, due to a variety of reasons. They have uh, been through difficult periods. They're not still out of the woods, but they are one of the solid
Yeah.
infra companies. And apart from the other investment, so I think it's certainly a sad day any which way you look at it. And
Oops. Okay, we've had a little bit of a technical glitch, so I'm just going to try and fix that. Sandeep is right. Okay, so we're back, and sorry about that. Condolences, of course, from all of us here at the Sunday Club. Extremely tragedy. Very young, only 54, and certainly had a lot to look forward to in his life.
They're
And
rock solid companies with
yeah,
no
yeah,
black spot, wonderful corporate, wonderful ethics, and
sure.
typically old world industry, typical old world value systems and ethics.
Correct. So our condolences from all of us here, and now we'll move on to the debate.
So
And
here,
let's
that's
start with Lady Blah Blah Tokus. Lady Blah Blah Tokus, hi, how are you? Good to have you on since the original Miss Tokus is late as usual.
is
she's
it a,
Lady
doing
Blah Blah,
she's doing a
you're
double
on
number.
is a double?
Pallavi, she's doing a
Lady
double number.
Blah
You didn't notice. She was simultaneously covering Jammu and Ramlila Maidan. I don't know, Jammu,
Oh,
she was getting
fantastic.
the feed
Maybe
from.
that's why she sent Lady Blah Blah Tokus in.
Yeah, I know she must have been getting the Jammu feed from Doctor, Professor. I don't know how she was mad, but that was a live feed almost from there.
Hmm. Abhijit, unmute yourself, Lady Tokus. I can't unmute you.
She's from she's from Haryana, no? So Haryana is halfway house, one border with Kashmir and one border with here. So that is why Tokaskul ki मर्यादा है और Tokaskul की शान है कि हम दोनों चीजें cover कर सकते हैं. So let us applaud for Tokaskul and
You're
charge
the only one
contribution.
applauding. Did you back? We shared a snippet of the speech that has become a meme factory this afternoon, which was atta and the liter analogy. But apart from that, Rahul Gandhi said pretty much the same things in terms of only two businessmen are benefiting from this government, divisiveness, this that, no prizes for guessing who the two
If
businessmen are. So it was pretty much the same stuff. What do you have to say?
See, why did you expect anything new? I am shocked by the fact that any of you in this program expected anything new from him. That is the real scandal out here. He is like a broken record, and I am telling you, this is not the Halla Bol rally. This is the Gondobol rally. It is BJP sponsored and BJP funded, because I can tell you for every minute that Rahul Gandhi speaks, Narendra Modi gets 50,000 votes more. He is the chief campaigner for the BJP. Rahul Gandhi is the second. He is the second tallest leader of the BJP around.
Yeah,
right?
but this
So
is
why are we surprised?
That's also not a
You know,
new.
I
Maybe
went
one
and
person,
checked all the websites.
one person at a time.
Nobody is reporting. Nobody is reporting about the Halla Bol rally. Why do you think that is? You know, the point of a Halla Bol is to actually Halla Bol. अब क्या नया तुमने हल्ला बोल दिया? अगर जाके बोलोगे कि सूरज ईस्ट से ऊपर आता है और वेस्ट में डूबता है, और पोप कैथोलिक है और घास हरा है और आसमान नीला है, what is new about it, boss? So
No, but I
I'm
think
waiting to see how many Congress walas are making money on the side with this rally, with all the catering contracts, the tenting contracts, the carpeting contracts, the platform contracts, because apparently that is what Congress rallies today are about.
you're being very
Just
mean.
like the same way that app which cost 30 crore rupees, which was manipulated by everybody, and an app costing 30 crore rupees, imagine. This rally is just like that. इसमें सब लोगों ने साइड पे पैसा बनाया है. This is a wealth distribution scheme for contractors. It is nothing more. Let us be clear about it.
Anyway, our host has disappeared. So we'll have to.
I'll
But
take over.
I
I'll
think
take over hosting.
no, you
See,
cannot be.
Sandip,
This group has been accused to be a group of all BJP script writers and the rest of it. So I have decided for a change today. I'm going to take the contrarian view on all such matters. Okay. So anyway, you have had your
So you
piece.
have faith. That means you have faith that Rahul will rise. So you want to put your eggs in two baskets now.
No basket. You see, in any case, I don't get anything. But I'm quite a
literally
mercenary.
basket.
I'm quite a mercenary. I'm an equal opportunity offender. I told Pallavi Ghosh this morning. She said all the Congress party is paying the journalists for tweeting against Azad. I said the least as a friend you can do is put my name in that. In any case, Advaita Kala doesn't pay us. Maybe I'll get some Chouani to buy some 1 liter of atta, but she didn't even help on that. You know.
But I do believe, let me be honest, Rahul has a good pitch to bat on. Unfortunately, he has got bad coaches because he could have, talked about Mahಂಗಾಯಿ and all that, but he makes a fool of himself by repeating himself and not being there on the field when required. And also, all these meme things he does is, terrible. So it loses focus. Any opposition party will rise to the Mahಂಗಾಯಿ issue, but and then BJP has to respond, but it need not respond because of the way Rahul is advised by his advisors and the way they go on repeating the same mistake. So, on what other point can they, hit BJP? Tell me.
But
That
see,
is
But
all.
Ratan
Communal
sir,
record is already gone. Communal
Can I,
record doesn't
No,
count
yeah,
with at all.
but to
can
be
I,
fair,
Ratan sir, just one question.
one
Just
minute.
one
Let
question, Ratan sir. If I accept that Congress never bats on the people's issues, right? But what are the other parties doing? Nobody else is protesting price rise or anything. It seems that the opposition itself has taken a collective holiday, permanent holiday.
See, other
no,
opposition
can I come in here?
they have
Advaita, are you
uh,
running
let,
the show or what?
yeah, Suhel come in. Suhel come in. Please, one at a time. Suhel come in. Everyone speak one at a time.
As Abhijit said, price is a very, very, very serious issue. It may not be serious for the people around this television screen or whatever, but it is a serious issue. He has highlighted an issue which concerns every Indian, rich, poor, middle class, whatever you might say. Now, you may have an issue with the way he communicates, which is a separate issue altogether. But I think it will be necessary for the BJP to put out a message or to counter this with hard facts. See, you can keep making fun of a person, okay, and you can meme him, you can do things about him, but that is running away from the critical issue that Rahul Gandhi has raised. And to be fair, he has not raised this for the first time. He has been raising the issue of price ad nauseum. What is worrying is that he's also been raising the names of two industrialists. I mean, Rahul Gandhi couldn't employ one person if he wanted to. Now, these people are giving jobs, they're producing stuff for the country, blah, blah, blah. So I don't even want to go there. But let's actually debate and discuss this issue. Do we around this table on Sunday Club believe that price is an issue? If it is, then what we must discuss today are only two things. A, is Rahul Gandhi raising the right issue? B, is it time for the BJP as the governing party at the center to counter this? 3 days ago, when Nirmala Sitharaman made a comment to the district collector, you heard what happened, and Telangana's government responded by putting Mr. Modi's picture on gas cylinders, saying this is the actual price. Price, Advaita, is an issue. You
I
might,
agree.
it is a serious issue. People are actually in trouble. They're in trouble. People are not talking about it because perhaps the media doesn't want to highlight it. But someone has got to now address this issue. And there is no one better than either the Prime Minister because of his, amazing communication skills, or perhaps someone from the party. Someone has to say, you can't brush the whole issue aside by saying, oh, he made a mistake. He got the metrics wrong between liter
Yeah.
and kilo.
And
I mean,
he misspoke. He misspoke
when you,
already.
when you,
And
One
when you
comment
take
out here.
an issue like this, you
I'll get
sound
to you.
as facetious and as childish as perhaps you accuse Rahul Gandhi of sounding. आप issue के साथ truck लीजिए. You have a truck with that issue. And unless you have a truck with that issue, no matter, and I'm fond of Sambit and all, but these press conferences can't be turned into Comedy Central shows where you make fun of a person without actually addressing the issue that that person has raised. Please understand, even in cinema, the most amazing messages at times have been given by artists who were comedians, whether it's Charlie Chaplin in The Great Dictator. So the point is, I'm not saying Rahul Gandhi is a comedian, but I'm saying sometimes don't confuse the message for the delivery. Address the message, and only then will people respect you. Otherwise, this will become a show. You said that, you said it like this, oh, you're silly. But no one is addressing the issues that he has raised.
Yeah, that's one. And Professor Kamin, and I want to add something to what Suhel said.
Yeah,
Please
Professor, let Professor speak, Sandip,
Okay.
then we'll come back.
This was it. Let him please.
Two issues out here. Yes, price rise is an issue, a serious issue that needs to be addressed. Now, I could argue that this price rise that is taking place, by and large, has an external dimension. And, in 1 or 2 years, when this external dimension is taken care of, this price rise may longer be an issue. Okay, but that is something for the government to argue. The second part that we are also talking about, Rajiv Gandhi's Halla Bol campaign. Now, this is supposed to be a set piece campaign where he decides the conditions under which he will campaign. The problem is that he is doing it in Delhi, adjacent to UP, where the Congress no longer has a base. So when you are raising such an issue in areas where you have no base, so you don't have supporters, and this is not just the first Halla Bol campaign he has been doing. He had to cancel some because there was nobody in attendance. So when you raise such an important issue in a set piece battle and where nobody turns up, and when you proceed to make a fool of yourself, then that issue also gets diluted. Now, people talked about him having bad strategists. Okay, he has bad strategists. I would have tried to do it in a state where the Congress is in power, or at least where the Congress is the principal opposition party. But there are certain things even his strategists can't do. For example, make him say the right things. And he doesn't say the right things. You see, on such an important issue, when you basically make a fool of yourself, you basically lose gravitas. Not gravity, as somebody said, but gravitas. And as a result of which, that issue has a tendency to get diluted. Is it an important issue? It is an important issue. Could Sandip Patra have addressed that particular portion? He could have. But then he is also a politician responding to a comic moment in this entire show, and he responds with comedy. But yes, it is an issue, but it is also true that in a set piece battle, Rahul Gandhi has shot himself in the foot.
Yeah.
Right,
May
but
I
Ratan
just add
Chatterjee,
something?
the RSS keeps an eye, keeps a ear on the ground, is very much in touch with what's happening on the ground. These kind of the error in, I think he's misspoke. Of course, it's always fun because that gives everybody a fun talking point. But what he's raising, can we look the other way from this price rise issue, or should we take the issue at least seriously, even if not the individual?
The first thing I said today was that he has an important issue which cannot be brushed aside. Point is how he presents it, how he creates a mess out of it because of his poor coaching. I said that very clearly. Now it is not RSS, ground to criticize him or to respond to his Mengai land Allah Bol and all that. That's politics. My crib with BJP has always been communications, and Suhel is master in communication. He has raised the point many times. Even on TV debates, they end up just countering the same noise with their own noise. They never come with the facts. Very very few times. Some do come with facts, but for example, in during Punjab campaign where Arvind Kejriwal selling his school model and wonderful governance model in Delhi, not a single BJP leader ever questioned his model of governance in Delhi. Similarly, failure of it is not failure of just Rahul Gandhi what he says. It is failure down the line in the Congress party. Does anybody carry the conviction to the people? I doubt it. Thirdly, the very fact that the world around we are the best performing economy and least inflation oriented.
That's the
How
next topic.
how
Yeah.
should that be coming out from the BJP? Does
Yeah.
BJP take it out in the right manner? That is the issue. You can
Hmm.
create meme. That is one side of the story. Other side,
Hmm.
are you presenting the facts? Is BJP IT cell ever has produced positive narrative and positive fact-based, tweets or articles where they give facts? But globally, if you see, there is nothing to crib about the way inflation is in India. But we are a poor country. We are impacted accordingly. But how does one present this to the people? And we don't do. Ultimately, somewhere down the line, if Congress is smart enough, this issue will come up. So people don't know what's happening in America, how bad is UK, how bad is Europe. They know कि
I
मेरी
know.
दाल में.
Yeah, in the
So
UK, I mean, the power crisis this winter is going to be really crazy because the power prices are
poor
electric
step says
prices
cattle
are just
buffalo. They say
skyrocketing.
cattle
But
buffalo.
I was, Ratan Chadaji, I wanted to bring Rajiv Tulli in on this one and, ask him the same question ki, at the ground level, how much is this message resonating that there is a problem, महंगाई बढ़ रही है, and what is Congress's political fortunes aside, the issue of महंगाई, how much of a talking point is it?
मुझे लगता है कि जो महंगाई का इशू है ये ग्राउंड पे अ, है ही इसमें इसमें कोई सेकंड थॉट नहीं है। और अभी थोड़े दिन पहले दत्तात्रेय होसवाले ने एक प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस की थी और उसमें उस प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस में ऐसे प्रश्न के उत्तर में उन्होंने कहा भी था कि जो खाने पीने और शिक्षा इन तीनों के जो दाम है वो कम रहने चाहिए। सो ऐसा नहीं है कि मुझे नहीं लगता कि यहाँ संघ की ओर से जितने भी फोरम्स हैं उस पर ये कन्वे नहीं किया जा रहा होगा, मगर अभी अभी थोड़े दिन में समन्वय बैठक भी है एक संघ और बाकी विचार परिवार के संगठनों का। मुझे लगता है ये विषय उसमें भी आएगा। द अदर डे आई वाज टॉकिंग टू वन ऑफ द को-कन्वीनर्स ऑफ द स्वदेशी जागरण मंच आल्सो, सो ही वाज आल्सो ऑफ द व्यू दैट नहीं महंगाई पे कुछ ना कुछ होना चाहिए। एटलीस्ट जो रतन जी ने बोला या बाकी पैनलिस्ट ने भी बोला, एटलीस्ट एक कम्युनिकेशन सरकार से होना चाहिए। वो कैसे हो सकता है? टीवी डिबेट्स में जो लोग भेजे जा रहे हैं उनमें से कितने इकोनॉमी को समझते हैं, वो वहाँ जाकर के कितनी लॉजिकल बात कर पाते हैं। हिंदू मुस्लिम वाले विषय पर वो शायद वो बात कर लेते हैं, मगर बाकी
तो ज्यादा ही
subjects पे
फोकस
वो
उसी
कर
पर
पाते
है
हैं,
ना।
नहीं बोल पाते। Pardon me?
I'm saying most of the focus now, unfortunately, is on these kind of debates only.
Yes, these kind of debates only। और मुझे
yesterday,
कोई भी चैनल भी ऐसा नहीं दिख रहा है अभी जो इस विषय पर एक ठीक से, even your business channels, they are also not doing programs on this, even they have
See,
started
let me
political
let
debates
me tell
rather
you,
than business
for
political
all the
debates।
abuse you
So
might
there
heap
is
on Chidambaram and all the abuse that you might heap on all these people, when they were holding offices, the ones that they held, there was communication. If the data was presented incorrectly by people, there was an immediate rebuttal. Today, what happens is the rebuttal is never on the issues that other people are raising by the ruling party. The issue is whether that person is an ass, whether he's made a fool of himself, blah, blah, blah. Which, by the way, is good for television debates, it's good for discussions, it's good for memes, but it is not good for India. People need to understand. Now, as Dipankar said, it's indexed to a global meltdown. Please tell us. Talk about it. Talk about the fact that India has actually won a great economic battle by buying oil at a hugely discounted price from Russia. Talk about it. You can't have Jaishankar say this in one, think tank seminar somewhere in the world and then expect the people to actually understand. People need to know why prices have risen in the manner that they have. Because it was the same prime minister, when he was not prime minister, but when he was chief minister, who railed against the ruling party of that time, talking about Mehngai. And Mehngai is an issue that concerns us all, whether we like it or not. It has to be addressed someday. So you better address it sooner rather than later. As simple as that.
Pallavi,
Let me
you've
take a
been
contrarian view out.
very busy,
One second.
busy. One second, Pallavi's joined us, Professor. Then I'll come back to
Sure.
you. I know
Sure.
this is
That's
your
okay.
yeah. Pallavi,
Very
you had a really
good
busy day
focus.
today. You've been, I believe, juggling Jammu and New Delhi. And so, what's the comparison? Give us the comparison. What's the turnout been like at both the places? Which one's seeming to have more resonance?
See, so there's a difference, In Jammu, the Maidan was much smaller, and of course, it was filled up. Ramlila Maidan is huge, so it was not even. There were those empty chairs, piche. But you also have people like a Bhupinder Hooda, Bhupesh Baghel, Ashok Gehlot, all of them getting in their crowds. Because I remember there was one very nice picture I saw of Bhupinder Hooda, actually a video which was tweeted by him only, where he's waving to the crowds and they're all cheering him up. So clearly, those people have been brought in by him. So I'm not surprised there's a huge turnout. But I also, just to take the point which Suhel was also making, so two quick points over here, Advaita. One thing is that this was supposed to be the Big Bang Mehengai rally, the Halla Bowl, and this is what a Bharat Jodo Yatra is going to be about. So it leads up to that. But Piche mein, when you go, there were people who are putting up posters of "We want Rahul Gandhi," and in fact, most of the speakers were actually talking about the fact that we want Rahul Gandhi to be back as the Congress president. So that became the bigger issue for them. The price rise at some point of time did not seem to be so important even for the Congress leaders. That's my one. Second, I agree with Suhel because as a reporter also who covers the finance ministry, we do have those debriefing sessions and the finance minister does speak to us. But when I look at the narrative which comes in and the handouts which start coming into us and explanatory notes and all come in, Advaita, it usually begins and ends by saying that the prime minister has done so much and the prime minister have faith in him and the prime minister does this and that. But to explain to us why is this price rise taking place? I mean, this point about buying oil from Russia. And, it wasn't an easy call because we were often told in our debriefing sessions by ministries that how much of a diplomatic pressure there was on India to get that oil. But has it been broken down to the common man? Has it been explained even to the beat correspondents? At times they miss out on that. The focus becomes so much about how dare you question a policy because that means you're attacking the prime minister. Sometimes they don't even take the focus and explain to us that many of those allegations which are coming in from the Congress party or Mr. Chidambaram, and once or twice their bluff has been called out. There has been fact checking done by the PIB. I think they need to do that more. I mean, I frankly speaking thought that there would be a point-by-point rebuttal to the Mehengai rally by Rahul Gandhi today. I had a Sambit Patra press conference, good enough, but the focus over there became about his FOPA over, 20 kg liter atta over, this and that. So to give the tag to Rahul Gandhi of being a pappu, fair enough. But did you do a point-by-point rebuttal to all the allegations which were being made by the Congress party against the BJP?
Professor, you wanted to come
Let
in?
me just
Go ahead.
a slight contrarian view. Look, this price rise is painful for a lot of people. It's painful. And there are also very valid reasons as to why this price rise is occurring. As I said, it's by and large greatly led by external factors rather than domestic policy. However, at this point in time, to tell people don't complain about price rise because we are doing rest of the world will serve to infuriate rather than placate. So under those circumstances, it's possibly the best way forward politically to let an opponent make a fool of himself over this matter and let this matter subside. This is not the ideal thing to do, okay, but politically you could argue this is a pretty good thing to do. So that is my two bits about this particular issue. But the fact also remains that in specific discussions, the government does clarify this. Policymakers associated with the government, for example, Sanjeev Sanyal, etc., do tweet about this, do talk about this. Now, the question is, it is up to the popular press to talk about this and explain this to the people. The fact is, even the popular press and the media does not seem to do so. So, yes, there is an omission by the government that they should be doing so. But on the basis of the briefings, I think the popular press also should take this to the government. Look, this is why it's happening. I don't see that happening. That's all.
Sandeep, please go ahead.
Yeah. See, I have a.
Where's Abhijit? He's complaining. Why have you taken him off?
I'll speak after Sandip. Sandeep ko
See,
bole.
my point is, I think what Abhijit and Suhel said in the beginning, all these tutu meme and even Rahul Gandhi's gaffes or these memes are sideshows now. There are certain real things, and where I differ with, okay, I don't differ, I'll differentiate, shall I say. One is the common man is not interested whether you have a Ukraine war, due to that the price is going up or anything else. They are nobody. If I were to tell my guy that the gas prices are up because international prices are up, that doesn't make any sense to them. And there is definitely pain out there, which is a separate issue. Another issue is which you are talking about, talking to the intelligentsia or the audience here to explain to them this is what these guys are saying and these are my counter logic. Here, my own senses, having seen the Modi government act during the COVID second wave, rightly or wrongly, they seem to be on a view that in लोग को तो बताने से कोई फायदा नहीं है. They are not going to listen to our logic, what is wrong, why we are doing this vaccination program, when it will happen, etc. Let us do our job quietly, and at the right time, we'll go back to the people and say, this is what we have done. And, so there is no point in trying to. So at that stage, if you see, Modi went into last year, during the second wave, he went to a huge silent patch in May, June, till he got his vaccination act together. That's when they started making some noise. Today, therefore, I see this is the issue. Certainly what you are saying, there is a problem of intellectual depth in people who come and they get dragged into the same conversations about, even in TV debates, the ordinary people who are listening, they don't want the same broken record to say this has happened in Ukraine, this has happened, America mein itna inflation hai, those are not what people are willing. But at the same time, the Sanjeev Sanyal kind of argument, I'm not too sure whether today people are willing to listen to, because unfortunately, that intellectual class is part of the Congress ecosystem. So if you were to try and explain these things to an Chidambaram, Suhel mentioned, or any of his, groupies or cronies, they are going to again find split the whole thing. Look at the Kaushik Basu. Even today, he's saying that, okay, I grant there is Indian GDP has grown, but the credit must go to Manmohan Singh, and I think at least he granted that this is something to be happy about. Others are taking, others are people like Sanjay Jha and all, they take it to a different level. What has per capita income got to do with what is your overall GDP growth? Do they ask the same question when China grows that, China's population is so much and UK's population and this, so no big deal if China's GDP is growing? So those are things, unfortunately, they don't have. Only people like Arun Jaitley and all could take it on earlier. And, but I somehow feel that maybe Mr. Modi thinks, this is the kind of, noise, surround sound will happen at some stage when things are together, then we'll come and tell them what we have done or not done.
Yeah.
Right.
Abhijit,
Just to add
Abhijit,
quickly,
why are you calling yourself Lady Blah Blah Tokas? So mean.
See, why is she getting so upset that I'm a tokus?
Oh, why is she taking personally?
Yeah, why are you taking it so personally? See, I told you she's actually a tokus. Anyway, so the point I had to make was very simple. And I'm synthesizing what Suhel, Dipankar, Sandeep, Ratan, Sharda ji, and Sanjay ji said. See,
that's Ajwata's job.
Sorry, Rajiv ji. See, it's really, first, we have a problem with the communications department at the PMO. It is a very serious problem that they are never able to get ahead of any narrative ever. Okay, be it Rafale, be it Chaukidar Chor Hai, be it this, be it whatever, they are the biggest bunch of duffers you'll come across in a 1,500 mile radius. So there's nothing you can do about that, number one. Number two, even take something like price rise, which affects everybody. Okay, especially the same classes of people who the BJP has made their vote bank. Rahul Gandhi unnecessarily intellectualizes it and diverts it to his favorite topics. Like you remember that famous Arnab Goswami interview where he brought everything back to women. Today
Women
again
empowerment.
on a price rise, today again in a price rise rally, he's talking about how hatred and anger have increased. So he's not even messaging it properly. If you come up, ask Suhel, if you have to come up with an advertisement for Dolopar to get rid of headaches, did you ever do an ad talking about the silver paper package of the Dolopar and how it connotes luxury headache removal? No. You're going to talk about the efficacy of the medicine. No. He is not talking about that. Third, there is a rule in war. You never attack your enemy at the strongest. You always attack your enemy at the weakest point. Okay. The problem here is the argument may be very strong that there has been significant inflation, etc., etc., etc. The problem is even today, Rahul made a goof up. He talked about 22 rupees 22 per liter of atta, which they've gone to town over. There is not a single speech where he doesn't open up his flanks for a outflanking attack by the BJP. Right? And it suits the BJP because the BJP discourse at that level is an extremely earthy kind of a gaon wala connect discourse where they're very good. Unlike, say, an intellectual discourse where they're almost zero, the official spokesmen are almost zero. So it suits the BJP. So here's the problem. Rahul is playing to the BJP's strengths. Rahul keeps, diluting the message. Rahul is the weakest link. So instead of attacking the strongest point, which is the argument that there has been price rise, which is causing misery, they attack the weakest link, which is the person making the argument. And then see, there is also the credibility of the argument. No? This is like Marie Antoinette saying, let them eat cake. You can't be going to Italy, Thailand, wherever, and then saying price rise.
Do you agree with that?
Do you remember the cartoon that came out when this chap had taken David Miliband to a Dalit house somewhere in Jharkhand or Chhattisgarh? This cartoon came out showing how there was a Dalit rally outside his house saying, now we want to come spend the night at your house and see where we live. देखो एक credibility होना चाहिए बोलने के लिए. Let him throw the first stone who has not sinned.
But Suhel, I mean, this is difficult for brand Rahul Gandhi, isn't it? I mean, his name itself, communicates privilege. How does he kind of then show that he's one with the people as a mass politician should be able to connect? How can he reimagine himself and his relationship with the people? Because he comes from that privilege, and I'm not saying it's his fault. I mean, it's what he was born into.
So therein lies the irony. It's a flawed brand, but it's a brand that people love to engage with and relate to, whether they relate to it through vitriolic means or relate to it in a nice way. So here's the thing. If Rahul Gandhi was irrelevant, as most people think he is, then why should the BJP even bother, attacking him? They attack him because in him they see a person who apparently, according to them, still has some level of connect, whatever that connect may be. A, B, for whatever reason, would you say the same thing about a KCR or an MK Stalin or even a Mamata Banerjee pan-India? You wouldn't. Whether you like it or not, Advaita, Rahul Gandhi is still the only pan-Indian opposition leader. Whether you like it or not. A leader who has been built up assiduously, not only by his own flaws, but even by the BJP. If a person is irrelevant, you don't talk about him. But the BJP is so seized with him. And therein lies the irony. You see, the BJP needs someone to make fun of, but they don't realize that in making fun of that person, they're only making that person more and more relevant because he's the person who's newsworthy. Now, if Rahul Gandhi was irrelevant to the political discourse of this country, would we be having a conversation about Hallapur? No. Would the media cover it the way they did? No. Would you have memes suddenly coming up? No. The irrelevant is often treated as the irrelevant until it gets under your skin. Rahul Gandhi is under the BJP's skin and has been for the longest time. When he used the
He's
phrase, hear me out, don't interrupt. When he used the phrase Soot Boot Ki Sarkar, for 2 years, reforms were put on a hold. Everyone knows that. People have written reams about it. Today, he has, and of course, he fumbles, he stumbles from one thing to the other. But that's the personality, that's the human being. The point I'm making is not one of the issues has he raised is an issue which doesn't have some level of resonance. Whether that resonance translates into votes is another matter, because votes is not about issues, it's also about cadre building, cadre motivation, the RSS playing its part, blah, blah, blah. But from a seriously political point of view, the amount of noise, the amount of media space that Rahul Gandhi gets is non-commensurate with the presence that the Congress has either in Parliament or in the states. But it still gets that level of attraction in terms of noise or in terms of media attention. Why? There must be something. Now, it's not because he's a great comedian alone. So that's what we have to discuss. Why, in spite of us making fun of him, do we discuss him? A, B, why, in spite of us thinking he is flawed or he's not the right person to lead, do people still listen to him or discuss him ad nauseum, or to quote an anchor ad verbatim?
I have a few problems about Suhel.
Ratan sir, can I just make a quick point?
Lady Tabla and then Ratan Sharda ji. Okay, let's go.
Just a quick point. So just that very quick point. See, the thing is, the BJP is very smart in doing this. It is not that Rahul Gandhi is irrelevant. The problem is that the BJP's counter strategy to his relevance is irreverence.
Correct.
They have turned him into a joke. And this is something that the PMO is notoriously sensitive about. They don't mind you giving Gadi Galoch or criticizing the PMO. But once you start making fun of the PMO, you start getting blacklisted. Because they understand very well that humor is an extremely powerful. The more relevant you are, the more they make fun of you to deride your status, and they themselves are very vulnerable to it. And the problem is, remember, this was the same time, the period that Suhel spoke about, that Soot Boot Ki Sarkar, is very relevant, because that is when the Congress itself was running its irreverence campaign against the PMO called Feku.
Yeah.
They'd keep calling him Feku, 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 and it had an impact, boss. It had an impact, which is why they were able to stall reforms for 2 years. But they are not understanding. They are making him. They are making him into Darth Vader. They should be turning Modi into Donald Duck.
Ratan Sharda ji, but if this was having an impact, then I mean the Congress would be doing better at the hustings, and the BJP would be losing face. But instead, you have a situation where the Prime Minister's popularity is only growing. So I mean, it's not like it's hitting bullseye with this whole Chaukidar Chor hai and Soot Boot Ki Sarkar. I mean, it may have had some temporary kind of luck with the especially with the media that is supports the Congress. But beyond that, it hasn't really translated to votes. And isn't that what counts eventually?
See, as Abhijit noted, he is the weakest link. So BJP enjoys, interacting with him, not because they are afraid of him, but because he is the easiest to counter. So that is the reason why BJP deliberately keeps him on the top of visibility. If it were any other leader than Rahul, still they would get the coverage. I think Suhel is wrong, because Rahul is being covered not because it's Rahul, because Congress needs a face. And Congress has not chosen any other face except Rahul.
Right.
So if Sachin Pilot was of the face, or say Ghulam Nabi was not there, if they had become the face, they would be covered by the press. Ultimately, you need opposition. And we also forget that he's speaking on the back of 80 to 20% votes, loyal votes of Congress, who have not shifted despite Congress losing very heavily. So where would they go? They would go to Congress, and if Congress behaves poorly, they will go to AAP. Once we recognize this, we cannot say that this is Rahul is doing some extraordinary job. He's doing what any opposition would have done, but with lack of gravitas and no follow through. Biggest problem, he speaks, then it disappears, then another issue comes, then drops it. See, this Chaukidar Chor didn't work. Suit boot works, so you have to choose the topics also. And lastly, this defeatist idea of that there is no use explaining, ho jane do, baad mein dekh lenge. It doesn't work that way. The way Congress has been chipping slowly on many issues, there is 20% vote bank they have still, despite all the negativity. Any person leading Congress can encash that, and more can come back. But are they ready for it? So let us look at the follow-up. Let us look at the infrastructure behind the Congress party to see what the result is. But to give him credit more than what is due, I think that's wrong. He's being handled. We know earlier he's being coached by wrong people. The Congress culture advisory has gone. You have JNU trained people who have vitriolic way of talking and who have a very negative attitude about everything. So that is what Rahul is showing, which doesn't work well with the people. But his issue to say that we will not communicate because it doesn't make sense to people, I'm sorry. People are much more aware they were earlier on. They see much more seriously. Okay, on debate you can score points, you can shout and all that. Ultimately, people try to see whatever comes out of the discussion, what they face in life. Remember Shining Bharat, wonderful propaganda of BJP when 2004 they lost. So
Yeah.
unless you are in people, if you communicate in the right manner, see how did Modi differ in 2019? He put the common man, the poor man in the front of the campaign, which was not done in 2004 by the BJP.
Yes.
So they understand, they learn, but has Congress learned? That is the issue. When you raise an issue, do you take it to the end in the proper manner with organization backing you? That's what I said earlier also. And as I said, don't credit Rahul, credit the 20% vote bank, which is about to slip out if they don't behave. For example, in Gujarat, you will find AAP scoring something. I'm not saying spectacular victory. In Surat Municipal Corporation, it simply swapped all the seat of Congress to AAP. So there are people who will never come to BJP for whatever reason, default and whatever. They need some other party. Will Rahul make Congress that other party, or will others try to take away that
That's
particular
time will
seat?
tell. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
need to
So
go
his
early,
last thing, and then we have to move on. Yeah.
and I also need to take leave. I have to go early. So my only
Okay.
comment here is that Ratan is absolutely right. That the Congress is imploding. I've said that in pieces. Their discourse is pretty vulgar. For Ghulam Nabi Azad to call his erstwhile colleagues security guards, for Manish Tiwari to say chaprasis, that's
Yeah. Yeah. That's not on. Yeah.
discourse, sadly to say, is across the political spectrum. It doesn't only belong to the Congress. There are two issues here. One is the Congress is going through an upheaval that it has never seen before. Okay, the family for the first time itself is being challenged. The family is asunder. But there are droves of people who are willing to swear by the family because they believe the family is the binding glue. So that's scenario one. Scenario two is whether it's the Congress or whether some other opposition leader needs to step up to the plate, we don't know. But in the absence of any other pan Indian opposition leader, Rahul Gandhi is the one who's taking that place, whether we like it or not. Remember, you have an erstwhile stand-up comic leading a country which is at war today, Ukraine. So don't think stand-up comics can't resurrect themselves. I'm not again saying that Rahul is a stand-up comic, but that's what he's made out to be. He's made out to be a joker because of the comments that he passes and the utterances. Coaching is one element, intellectual heft is another. But leave everything aside, focus on only one thing. When will the BJP get the gravitas to counter the issues with data that addresses the issue and not the human being? Because when it comes to shove, people will not talk about the man Rahul Gandhi. They will say, पर उन्होंने ये बात की थी, आपका उस पे क्या कहना है? Plus, finally, you're allowing people to drum up support for the issue, even if they will not drum up support for Rahul Gandhi.
Okay. Thank you, Suhel. And Professor, let's move on from this and let's start with you on the next topic, which is India, the fifth largest economy in the world. Your comments and how did we get here?
Look, there are two aspects to this. In economics, we have something called economic convergence, which says that ultimately countries, economies with the same institutions converge towards the same per capita income. So if India is poorer than the United States, India's rate of growth in the initial stages will be greater than the United States, and after some time, we will approach that of the United States. Now, of course, for the first 20 to 30 years of our independence, it didn't happen because we were in a license permit Raj mode, bad economic policies. And that is true for China as well. As long as China was a state controlled economy, did not allow market economics, India and China grew at very glacial speeds. It is only when China started to reform in the mid 70s and India started to reform in the mid 80s that our growth rate started to increase. So the fact that we have our GDP, not per capita income, has now exceeded that of the United Kingdom is not surprising, but it was never assured. It was assured only after we adopted market economics. We threw away Nehruvian socialism. We haven't thrown it away yet, and that is why our growth rates are not as fast as they should be. Now, remember, what we've done is still very creditable because there are several countries in Africa, sub-Saharan Africa, Nigeria, who have not still got into that particular mode. So the fact that we have crossed, our GDP has crossed the United Kingdom, will one day cross that of Germany is not surprising, but let us not take away from the enormity of this movement. I won't call it the achievement because this happened when the government allowed people to use their talents, their entrepreneurial spirits to let it happen. It could have happened long ago had we not gone in for the Nehruvian socialist model. We lost decades at a time when our entrepreneurs during the Second World War and before had shown that we could do. It was the time we chose to hobble them. Now, thankfully, those days are over, and thankfully, we are proceeding. So, this is a moment we should savor, but a lot of work still needs to be done.
Okay, and we're actually running really low on time. So I think Professor's intervention is the best because professors are economics experts. So I think he's put it in a nutshell for us. And we'll move on to the last discussion point this week. And this is something really which came up with INS Virat. And, the kind of commentary that was going on and a trend that we've seen in the recent past. Ratan Shadaji, yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, see what Professor said is all very well taken, but we must also remember that during the worst period of COVID, bottom of the pyramid approach of Modi ji has worked because when you have money in the hand of the poorest of the poor, when they have food to eat and there's some spare money, that is where the consumption grows, not where the super luxury is there. And also the very discreet way of providing fiscal support, which we all criticize at many times, that also helped. So it is a very measured way of reaching that stage when other countries are faltering. So this particular fiscal discipline and also approach to the most difficult of the lowest of the pyramid base where Modi ji has touched, that also helped a lot.
Okay.
I don't disagree with that. I agree with that completely. But you see, what Ratan is talking about are certain extreme situations where government intervention becomes absolutely necessary. I am not saying that the government shouldn't intervene at all when it comes to infrastructure, when it comes to taking care of those who are left out of this. The role of the government is paramount. What the government did earlier was to control this entire investment and economic planning through licenses and permits. And Sandip Ghosh must have cut his teeth in the 70s and 80s in that particular milieu. He will tell you how difficult it was to do business in those days. Today, things are far better. It could be even better, but we aren't there yet.
You asked me, just left. The regulation system is still horrendous for the MSME. Despite this, they are working. It's horrendous. You talk to any MSME, unfortunately.
Exactly.
He's one of those people who actually faces every day. Pollution is the biggest arm twister now, what earlier was excise. There are many such things which are not yet under control of it, are really taking the juice out of it. And that is despite this rising. It is not the way people change everything and then Atalji followed up. Now it is other way around where bureaucrats are still not ready to give of the
Yes.
control. And all this
Yes.
talk of wonderful, we are friends and we trust people. Sorry, they don't trust the people.
Yeah, absolutely. I
Exactly.
agree. I agree.
Exactly. And
I agree.
therein lies the entire problem. We are seeing not license Raj number 2, we are seeing Babu Raj 2.0, because the level, the power of harassment given to these lafantas is so much that given their acutely limited mental capacities from passing that one exam, they think they can go around controlling. They make life miserable for everybody in the MSMEs. Everybody you talk to in the MSME says, मैं क्या अपना product बेचूंगा या compliance
Yes.
करते रहूंगा इन लोगों के साथ.
No,
Okay.
also,
Next, remember, where is the money? Where is the money coming from? I see money coming in, but I'm not seeing new manufacturing plants being set up. Where are the manufacturing jobs? What is this money coming in? Nobody seems to be able to explain this properly. Third, while I do accept that you need to, for electoral reasons, go after the, the subsistence level bunch. The problem is, even today, we are conflating two different things: baking more pizzas and distributing bigger slices of the pizza. We are distributing, we are doing fantastic pizza distribution, but who is baking more pizzas? ठीक है ना? This is like a company that goes on saying हम अगली बार इस बार हमने 1 लाख पिज्जा बनाया, अगली बार हम 10 लाख बनाएंगे. We're looking at the advertisements, we're not seeing these 10 lakh pizzas.
It's a much more complex issue. I think, Advaita, we'll have to keep a longer time to discuss it
Yeah,
later on.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Because
I think
there
we
are-
should get back together for this. We should come back together for this.
The role of the states is a big thing in this. Most of the states don't have money. So if there are incentives, there are states which are refusing to settle incentives. All those things are factors are there. I think that will call for a less entertaining discussion, but maybe a more intense discussion some other time.
All right, all right. Thank you to
It
my
was not
co-host,
ended.
who's really earning his blank, who's earning his check today. but let's dive into our next topic for today,
Check.
and that is really about the lack of political grace and discourse. You have been covering the political beat now for a while. Has it always been like this? Do you find it more vitriolic now and more offensive now, or and has the advent of social media kind of exacerbated this environment that we're seeing such extreme polarization? So just to get your thoughts to start us off.
No, it hasn't been so bad. I mean, I've covered for 15 years or so, a little bit over that. And it's never been so bad. I mean, the people do disagree. They take pot shots at each other. But, it's become very personal. And I think I would blame the social media and TV to a very great extent, because it's all about catching the eyeballs. It's all about who gets that attention. It's about TRPs. There are shows which go viral. There are your tweets which go viral. There are comments which go viral. And the people are actually happy about it. Ki, chalo, acha hai, itna viral hua. It's grabbing those TRPs. It's grabbing, that kind of a traction. You have to get traction. That's become the buzzword. Whether it's on TV, whether it's more on the social media. And the netas are loving it. I mean, I remember Digvijay Singh had told me a long back, because, ek cheez hai ki aap chhapte raho. A neta has to be in the news. And, if a person A, and I can say this, I don't know about BJP and all, but in Congress, I know the brief which has been given to many of the spokespersons of late is be outrageous at times, be a little bit of sensationalism at times. Because if you are not sensational or outrageous, then BJP and the others are going to shout you down. So you really have to beat them. So, it's not like off the cuff. It's not a mistake. It's not a goof up. It's deliberate. In most of the cases, 9 out of 10 cases, I can say about the Congress party, it's a deliberate way of talking, because they need to get traction. They want it to go viral. They want it to be discussed the next day, and, people bashing them. I mean, you just mentioned the netas, I mean, who would know X, Y, Z so much, but if they hadn't become a social media star? And who's paid the price for it I think it's basically civilized way of conducting ourselves, whether it's media, whether it's on the social media, or whether it's even the netas, trolling each other, shoot and scoot. I mean, just say something and just rush off and not even bothering that, you may upset or hurt someone.
But Pallavi, as a panelist, not as a spokesperson, but as a panelist who comes on a lot of TV debates, what I also noticed in the last couple of years is that the audience, if you make a sensible and a balanced point, it doesn't get that traction as opposed to
Exactly.
you saying something offensive. So I feel like even as an ordinary panelist, if you want to go viral and if you want to kind of be relevant in that sense, then you have to say something so that the response is dho dala, thappad maar diya, ye wo, like I mean, in a manner of speaking, not literally thappad mara, but that's the kind of
वो
accolade.
भी मारते हैं, वो भी
वो भी
करते हैं.
हाँ, और
But,
वो ज्यादा वायरल होता है. अगर एक्चुअल में
no,
थप्पड़ मारेंगे तो ज्यादा वायरल.
anchors like it. Anchors
I
like.
know. I think there are two issues out here. I think it depends on where you are. If there is a civilized discussion going on, which is basically based on argument and facts, then the unpleasant person will not get much traction. On the other hand, if there is a comedy show going on already and somebody wants to be a Buddha out there, that time nobody wants the Buddha, they want the comedy to go on. But let's
That's
face this. Let's face this. It's not just congressmen, Congress politicians alone. My tribe, I am looking at Nobel laureates, I'm looking at economists saying stupid, outrageous things. One name has been taken already, the gentleman from Ithaca, saying foolish things and, shamelessly. Then there are others who don't say such foolish things, but then they say things that are so obviously wrong that when you turn around and challenge them when the predictions have not come true, they're nowhere to be seen. So it's not just the Congress. It's an ecosystem aligned to the Congress which claims to be neutral, which has basically taken out it upon themselves to do this. And there are some journals as well, some media houses as well. One that calls itself the tar, the English for tar. They also come out with outrageous statements, outrageous stories, and then keep on qualifying them because they know that the consequence for stupid and fake stories is basically to go to the courts, which is expensive. So this is not just a Congress thing; it's an ecosystem which has taken this up, this vitriol and this outrageous statements.
Can I make a couple of points? See, one is that you talk about, since you're talking TV debates, and I've been around for nearly 8 years now, from 2014 at least, and I've been watching all this much from a long time. I think the level of the TV debates has been going down rather than going up, because even during after Modi's rise, also TV debates still were a little civil. That is one part. What is wrong, I'll tell you, that there was a gentleman who used to make very, very horrible abuses to the women in that panel about Mr. Modi, not just criticizing, very, very abusive and insulting, and which didn't suit a person of the PM stature. And he was around. I objected. I said, I am not coming on any panel that he comes. I talked to one of the anchors. She said, पर शारदा जी टीआरपी तो मिलती है ना. मैंने कहा ऐसी टीआरपी नहीं चाहिए. I left many debates because of him, but I did not budge. Finally, he's out of the debating panel anymore. One. Secondly, another case where there was this particular, I now forget the case again, another case, there was a debate where there was a very uncouth political spokesperson who had behaved very badly with a woman anchor in one show. Huge outrage on the social media.
Yeah.
That person came after 2 days on another channel, and I tweeted about it. And the anchor was very upset. They said, I will not even say he or she, that we are forced to call the panelists which is sent to us by the political party. Now, if the channels have their NAB, if they can't even force their opinion that a person who is uncouth, we will cancel the person for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and he should not come on TV debate, whether we are getting an ad from that particular party or not, because this should be a uniform, united decision. It doesn't happen. So when you are allowing these people to create ruckus on the TV debate in the name of TRP, that's the biggest mistake TV people are seeing, because you find more and more people turning to YouTube discussions, YouTube news, because they find this too disturbing. And I can tell you, for example, in Marathi, I know the regional, I don't know, English has never seen the circulation. There is a gentleman, retired journalist. He has, when he releases his YouTube of 30 minutes, 28 minutes, he gets an audience of a lakh within an hour. Another retired journalist started, and that is Bhaut Orsekar. Another is started, Nirgudkar. I saw his, discussion today. Within a day, he got 45,000 views. Your channel, for example, is not huge, but there are so many channels, especially in Hindi, who have millions of viewers, and every YouTube goes for lakhs. Why doesn't go for TV debate? Because they believe that this TRP and this outrage works. It does not. People are tired. And secondly, when you encourage such people in the name of TRP, I know people who make noise looking at the TV, all haranguing and all. When you meet outside, they will wink an eye and say, "ठीक है ना, मुझे जिसको बोलना था बोल दिया." So there were concerns: are we doing service to the audience and to the nation? We are not. Philosophical point. This happens when we try to copy West unthinkingly. When we say पैरी पहना मत करो, हम दोस्त हैं. When mother says बहू को तो ये तो मेरी सहेली है, मेरी बहू नहीं है. When we say elder brother, पैर को हाथ मत लगाओ, नहीं हम बराबर हैं. When we make the child drink alcohol with father, saying that अरे हम तो बराबर हैं. When you kill this respect for each other, this is the way decay happens. I'll give you one example. I was distributor of hardware of a very big multinational, and there is a young, I am a very good graduate, excellent marketing person. He said to my team, अरे कुछ सर्वर मत बोलो, सब ठीक है, सीधा नाम लो मेरा अभिजीत and all that. So, sorry, he was Abhijit. So, I told him, don't do this. Let the respect be there.
Abhijit took us today, took us.
He tells me, सर देखो आपके लड़के मेरी इज्जत नहीं करते, मैं जो बोलता मेरे सामने से जवाब देते हैं, मैंने बोला रास्ता आपने खोला. So when we say, okay, to call me Jack, don't call me sir. It's fine in US, in society, not in ours. So if we keep the respect, we keep the required warmth in the relation. I never had a bad relation with any opposition panelist, despite all the kind of bitterness that comes on the panel, because I keep that respect with other person. When we openly want to give up the respect in the relationship, we end up with this kind of behavior on the social media and also on various other channels of communication, because we encouraged it. So TV channels and all the media ultimately reflects the society.
Absolutely.
That will become coarse and abusive and clap on that. That is the time. Now there is a wonderful humorist on the TV channel, YouTube, a lady, without a single abusive word, without any gali, without any vulgarity, she's going great guns. But we choose easy way out. So this coarseness comes from own behavior in the society, which reflects in the other media.
Abhijit, by the way, to answer that question, why there isn't any South Indian in your Sunday club like RVS Money and so on?
Hello.
Abhijit is half, and Sandip Ghosh is sitting in the South. So,
and I was born in Karnataka.
Yeah, and I have a deep connection
been to
with
Kerala.
I have a deep connection.
Bombay born.
At that time, Karnataka was not Karnataka when you were born.
Ratan Shada ji
It was Mysore. It was Mysore.
Nice. A lot of difference. Between the two. But only thing, Ratan Sharda, I'll add for this thing. It is the same dumbing down, strategy which Times of India and others followed in newspapers. They had to dumb it down from their English a very elitist English to the common, and that is how the same thing has happened in English TV channels. Today, if the TV channels remain to see that BBC cream layer, none of them would have had any viewership. So they had to get the vernacular people watching it and make it the term I used for our Kahali show earlier, calling it infotainment. They had to make it a bit of a circus to get people. So a lot of people who come to watch these shows also, they don't take it very seriously, but they come to have that Nuda Kushti kind of fun. What they see on the WWF shows and all. So that is the thing. But if there is as you are saying, just like there are a lot of, instead of print papers, there are a lot of now portals which are getting to attract eyeballs. Similarly, if there are sensible, shows like ours, which is a good mix of entertainment and information, I think there is we have got it right, and we have some.
Yeah. And Abhijit, I mean, do you agree with Sandip? Is it the dumbing down of mainstream media that has made people like you so popular on TV?
See, I'm going to disagree with that slightly. When I was at university, I was always told, don't use double negatives, don't use complex language, use very simple language. You're not here to show off your language. You're here to make as many people understand as possible. Okay. So there has been this thing where TVs at one point of time, only very rich people could afford them. I remember when the government first gave us a TV when we used to live in Bharti Nagar, we were like, oh my God, this has more than one channel and you can switch it. And suddenly in 84, we got color TV. We're like, arre wah, ye to color hai, and things like that. And during the Gulf War, when we first got our dish, in those days, you remember the dishes used to be like 12, 15 feet. They were 10 feet dishes, nothing under 10 feet. So we had CNN at home, and that awful bold and the beautiful that people could watch on this thing. People used to come home just to go up to the roof and look in Chanakyapuri to look at our dish antenna. Okay? Now, there has been a democratization of the discourse. So you have different levels of this thing. So, for example, nobody is preventing a highfalutin language paper or channel from flourishing, right? But they're not flourishing. Okay. I mean, even if it was absolutely duplicitous like NDTV masquerading to under the pretense of being, sorry, Pallavi, I know you were at NDTV once upon a time, but the fact is that it was an indoctrination hellhole. It was pure venom disguised in being Gentile. Okay.
Gentile.
It was just pure
Gentile.
Sorry. It was pure crap. So there was a program called Left, Right and Center. Udhar, the left used to be one crazy left. The center were left of Joseph Stalin. There used to be 3 people from the center who were left of Joseph Stalin. And there would be 1 person from the BJP.
As one of them.
And usually, and what would happen is the so-called left and center would get 40 minutes, the right would get 10 minutes. So these people, they discredited themselves. Today, why does nobody read New York Times? Why does nobody read Washington Post? They discredited themselves. So there has been a democratization of the discourse. Third, in India, I would disagree on Gali Galoch. Gali Galoch in India is very different from the... It's kind of similar. Sociologically, if you look at it, Gali Galoch is a sign of familiarity, not formality. Right? You generally go... Of course, you go to...
In defense of Gali Galoch, basically, that is Abhijit's position tonight.
No, it is. It is. When I went to immerse my father's ashes in Varanasi, वो बाबा सब इस पे होते हैं ना, so you give them food and you touch their feet and all of that. खुसरे भोसड़ी के. This is what they say. What? This is how they bless you. No, they do. You go there. You go to Varanasi and talk to those things. Every second word will be like that. There is a certain culture of, it is called what Khushwant Singh calls endearment. Khushwant Singh never calls it a gali, he calls it an endearment. And in Indian culture, at least in Indo-Gangetic culture, gali galoch is endearment. It is not something where you distance somebody. It is something where you bring somebody closer. In the West, they hug. In India, you give gali.
You're not a real Haryanvi. There are a lot of subtle things. You use in Haryana a 4-letter word at the start of the sentence or at the end of the sentence. There is a lot of difference. When you start it with a 4-letter word, that is a term of endearment. When you end it with a 4-letter word, it's an abuse. So these
What's that word? What's the word?
Of course, there are nuances. But we have to...
Pallavi, you should know it's a Haryana.
I can share my experience. If you go to Marathi channel, they used to have wonderful debates and they had huge viewership. I went once after, despite so many negations, once I finally had to go for a Marathi TV debate on one of the CNN channels, I think Lokmat. And I was surprised at the reception I got with the people where I went to meet them. Are tumhala pahiलं तिथे TV वर छान झालं. And in that particular debate, everybody was speaking, including bitter enemies, wonderfully, and they have much more viewership, I can tell you, than all the English channels and all the so-called loud channels. I can tell you that. Of course, I am not even talking Hindi, which is huge. Even regional channels have better viewership because of the kind of debates they have, because of the sensibility they have. Of course, some are trying to copy English channels now in terms of shouting and all. But I have seen very good debates and they have very huge audience.
Actually, I suspect regional channels are better.
Do they abuse
the Bengali regional channels? You'll know, Professor.
No, but Bengali regional channels are not the kind of shouting matches that you see on some of our English matches. There is no
Worse.
Bengali channel which has the kind of shouting matches that say, at least I can name 2 English channels which have.
Sandeep is disagreeing. He's saying Bengali channels are worse.
Oh, terrible.
No, Bengali channels are not worse. Are not worse. I think.
I'll send you some samples then.
Yeah, please do that. Please do that. Please do that.
Anyway, today
But let me ask a counter question. Suppose NDTV had been truly a neutral channel, truly a neutral channel, a dispassionate channel, what would have been the future of Indian broadcasting? Because sometimes I believe that certain decisions certain parties take sometimes determine the future of that particular industry. If NDTV had been even-handed, would it have flourished? And my belief is it would have. There was a hubris in this particular channel that they can mold Indian opinion, particularly for those who matter, and life would go on as usual and they would still remain powerful. Of course, as they say, the whom the gods wish to destroy, they first make mad. And we saw NDTV go mad. It's now of course, on the brink of destruction. I believe a better future and a different future could have been the future of Indian broadcasting if certain people had behaved responsibly. They chose not.
See what Origin says about you. See what Origin is typing about you, Mr. Tukas. You are popular because Tukas.
But it's true. It's true.
Bangla
See,
Bangla channel.
I follow the I'm the true bhakt of the Prime Minister and Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, because through my abuses I make everybody my Kutumbakam.
No, that's not. What is the abusive word Sandip was talking about?
See, you people just talk. You people just talk Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. I live Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam.
But I sent you, share it with Professor. If you want to share this clip, this is about the great battle of Plassey.
Something he sent to me, Sandeep has sent. I don't know how you expect me to see it when I'm on the show.
You sent me Mamta Banerjee.
Yeah.
So
do you want me to share that?
You can, if you want.
Okay. Is it something special? I don't know. I mean,
it's special. It's I don't know.
Very special.
Okay. So we're going to get some Bengali translations, I'm hoping, from people who.
Some things you don't need translations, it comes.
Okay, let me see if I'm able to share it.
Is this part of a debate or a speech that she's made?
Speech. This is so far.
How does it matter?
Speech, no, speech to chodo yaar. Bengali, I'm talking about Bengali TV channel debates.
I'm not able to do.
আমার ধেরে বসুন্ধরা তার মাঝে আছে দেশ এক সজল দেশে সেরা তৈরি সেজে স্মৃতি দিয়ে ঘেরা বৃষ্টি কোথাও খুঁজে পাবে না গো তুমি, সেই যে সকল দেশের রানী, সেই যে আমার জন্মভূমি, সেই যে আমার জন্মভূমি, সেই যে আমার জন্মভূমি।
This is like Groundhog Day. This is what he did last time, and the Pankar said the same thing. I am impressed.
I am impressed.
Every episode he will sing his song.
Yes, and I have a new song. I have a new Bengali song for every episode.
No, that last time was the same song, but this time a Tamil song.
No, last time was Korobayu Boy Bege.
Now a Tamil song. Next time a Tamil song.
Listen, we had a very serious debate in Bihar, and there was a very serious political commentator.
Yes, Saurabh.
And he's Bengal's Wesley. And Abhijit sang a Bhojpuri song, and I asked Mr. Chaturvedi, I said, what does it mean? He says, I cannot tell you, it is so vulgar. I cannot even translate it.
It It is the most famous Bhojpuri song to come out in the last 10 years.
And he was
Hamara
such
ho
a
chahiye.
serious senior journalist, and I was so embarrassed because I wish I had not asked him, like, what does this mean? And he was like,
Anyway,
it's
I
so
have to
funny.
log off now because I have to go to the program of a very senior anchor of mainstream channel at 9 o'clock.
Listen,
Fate of the nation.
if they're hosting a program on Sunday night at 9 p.m., I don't know.
It is only for very select anchors you'd make it that happen. Go at 9 o'clock, and select anchors also do it for very select guests.
Impressed.
Don't otherwise get called in.
What Ratan Sharda did.
I have a feeling Abhijit has today bought some comments. He's paid some people because why is everyone praising him? So Pallavi
Yeah.
really impressed.
Acha, Abhijit, you were on the show with Supriya Srinate?
Oh God, Roshan really
Yeah, I was.
seems to be impressed.
Yeah,
by
please send me that clip. I would love to see that. Yeah.
Sure. So
Send me
see,
a clip.
I enjoy myself most when I'm opposite either Supriya Srinate or that Sanju Verma, because they're both such misguided missiles. It's great fun being on the show with them. So
I have
it's
to
like
go.
it's just great fun.
Yes, Sanju Verma.
Those are my
has
two
her
favorites.
own- Oh, she's on her own this thing.
No, but she gives it as good as she gets, huh? I have
Yeah.
to kind of say,
I'm sorry.
tenor.
I'm sorry, but Supriya just gives off terribly unpleasant vibes, and nobody I know who likes Sanju Verma in
I'm
private.
talking about Sanju Verma. Listen, yeah,
No,
she's
she
also-
does not. She does not. She does not give it off very well. Sometimes she does, but mostly she does not.
But Sanju Verma, one day the classic was Arnab telling her, Sanju, let's be civil in this. We don't have to get agitated. We don't have to get, we can all be calm and talk.
Yeah, just imagine.
Those are the
Okay.
best.
Okay, I have to go now. I have a show coming up, so I have to
Thanks.
prepare for my show.
Thanks, we'll catch you on
Bye.
TV.
Are you going the
See you.
senior
Thank
anchor?
you.
You are the
Namaste.
senior.
Yeah. After
Senior
senior-
anchor with a senior
senior
commentator.
makeup.
Is this the rendezvous?
And the bulletin is going to begin with a Haryanvi abuse and end also with one.
No, but is this the rendezvous? Because it looks like Sandip's wearing a nightgown today. a silken
Oh
one.
God. So they please dress properly.
Okay. Otherwise, in any case, News 18 has blacklisted me. They stopped calling me. Now, Pallavi is trying to make great amends to get me somewhere sideways in or something. So I have to behave myself.
Yeah. Me too. News 18 called me up and said, "Sir, Pallavi ने बोला है आपको न्यूज में बिल्कुल नहीं बुलाने के लिए. वो बहुत गुस्सा है आपसे. वो बोलती हैं कि आप उनको."
You know, Abhijit, when you lie, you really look cute.
Thank you.
Oh,
I love
dear.
you too.
I don't have to lie. Apparently, all the girls in News 18 have ticked me off. So now,
No, that's not true. See you guys.
You shouldn't crib in public, yeah. You should not crib in public.
He's always doing it in public.
anyway,
Tata, guys.
Bye.
Thank you, everybody, for watching, and see you next Sunday. And I know we were competing against the match today, so tough competition for us, but we held on to our audience, and
Are you
we'll
in
be
Delhi
back.
next Sunday? Next Sunday, are you in Delhi or you're traveling?
No, I'm not in Delhi next Sunday. No. Are you in
Not-
Delhi?
Yeah, that's why I said we could have had a phygital kind of a thing somewhere.
Yeah. And we have to do
Well,
our car reviews, Advaita. We promise people to do car reviews, no?
Yeah. So, what car do you want to do? And then let's do it this week sometime.
First, you're meant to get your Mahindra XUV, no? Down, no?
Oh, God, everybody's talking about it like random people also. You need to.
Huh.
Okay.
But we
Tata.
Chalo.
everybody for watching. Remember, like, share, subscribe. Please like the discussions, because the more likes you give, the more people watch them, is what I figured out about YouTube. So do that. And we'll be back next week and with our panel again. Some of you are saying too many people on the panel, so maybe we'll try and split it up between Saturdays and Sundays and figure it out, something which works. But thank you again for watching, and namaskar. Stay safe, drive safely, and wear your masks. COVID is still here. Bye bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.